All right, interesting story development, Rob, late last week. Jay-Z cuts a deal with the NFL to handle all of their entertainment, for the Super Bowl and other events that they have on booking acts and stuff like that. And also there's a social justice initiative component to the deal that Jay-Z cut with the league. And we found out today that he is believed to become, reportedly, a minority owner of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Looks like he'll get, I've read about 5% ownership with the Steelers.
I thought it was bigger than that. I thought it was.
That's what I read. That could. Rob G, is there another figure that's out there?
When they said significant, I thought it was going to be more than that.
Yeah, because remember the Rooneys, they're obviously not giving up any type of majority ownership of the team.
But I thought it would be that you don't really do too much when you have less than 5% or whatever.
Right. So and maybe it's more than that. That's a figure I read, but maybe it'll be more.
No, I'm just saying they made it when they said it. They originally said significant. To me, 5% is not significant.
Right. So
that's just me.
A lot has been said about this. I have my opinion. I want to hear yours first, Rob. Where do you stand, Jay-Z? He's getting crushed. Well, let's hear from Eric Reed, who's one of the players that has been critical of Jay-Z. And, of course, Eric Reed, the first NFL player to kneel beside Colin Kaepernick. And he's still kneeling. He's one of, I believe, 3 players left in the league that's kneeling. Here's what Eric Reed of the Carolina Panthers said about Jay-Z.
For one, when has Jay-Z ever taken a knee to come out and tell us that we're past kneeling? Yes, he's done a lot of great work, a lot of great social justice work, but for you to get paid to go into an NFL press conference to say that we're past kneeling, again, asinine. Players Coalition 2.0, he got paid to take the bullets that he's taking now because we're not having it.
All right, Rob, my view on this. First of all, I do think that Jay-Z, I understand some of the criticism. Last year, he was telling guys and acts and performers not to perform in the Super Bowl because of what happened to Colin Kaepernick.
Right.
And now he cuts a deal with the league. Right. However, remember what he said, and I'm just speculating on this, but what he said, this is a fact. He said, the NFL needs me. I don't need them, right? That was his quote when he rejected performing in the Super Bowl. It's possible he was being prophetic, and the NFL went to Jay-Z and said, we do need you. And they gave him a boatload of money, perhaps, to be in this position that he's in. Secondly, he could have handled the we're past kneeling statement better. He could have easily said, look, I respect Colin and Eric Reed and the guys that are still kneeling, but we have to do more than that, which is totally true. I agree with Jay-Z when he said there are different levels to protesting. And the first level is getting the attention of the people that you're protesting against and of the general public. And that's what was done with the kneeling. And now, unless you're just going to have a violent revolt, which we're not, then the next stage is to talk with the powers that be. And Jay-Z is taking it to that next stage and going into the NFL ownership level. And now that he's running this other department, the entertainment and social justice, he is in position to speak truth to power. You have to be in those halls. You have to be in those rooms to try to get things done. And Jay-Z is in position to do that. Now, I would say to those who are calling Jay-Z a sellout, first of all, Eric Reed alluded to it. Jay-Z has done great things in terms of social justice. And I want to say this to all the people, and let's just keep it real, mainly black people that are saying Jay-Z is a sellout or questioning it. Jay-Z, by his own admission, sold crack cocaine to mainly black people for 14 years. Who knows how many families and individuals' lives he destroyed selling crack. And during that time, none of these people calling him a sellout now said he was a sellout, even though he was destroying black families. And now that Jay-Z has turned his life around, has become one of the wealthiest African Americans legitimately in the country, has started an initiative called the Reform Alliance that is dedicated $50 million to fighting criminal justice reform. Now that he has, and on that committee is Van Jones is the CEO, and Van Jones gets good stuff done. He's made a documentary as the executive producer called Free Meek Mill that highlights how so many African Americans, particularly young men, get caught up in the parole system, the probation system unjustly, and end up spending time in prison. And now that he is in a position to use some of the money and the muscle of the strongest sports league in the world to help fight against social justice, to call him a sellout is just ridiculous. I'm not saying you can't have some questions about what he's done, but it's ridiculous.
It's not ridiculous. And from this
he's a sellout?
Chris,
is that what you're saying?
Chris, Jay-Z sold out the players, sold out Colin Kaepernick.
What players?
He just did. Let me tell you, you made your point, right? And Jay-Z has done a lot of good stuff. That doesn't mean that he can't err or that in this case he blew it. In this case, he blew it because he was used and he took the bait to be a photo op for those guys who have no interest in the black community. I'm telling you, they have zero interest, the NFL owners, in the black community. The only interest they have, Chris, are things that they can make money off. They can charge the military to stop and have heroes come in and shamefully take money from the U.S. military so that war heroes can come and wave their hands. They have the nerve to use breast cancer awareness. Do you know that they make money off the pink stuff that they sell? Do you know the merchandise? Do you know that doesn't all go to breast cancer awareness? Do you know that, Chris? That's what the NFL does. No, it's not. Because that's what they do. And what they did with Jay-Z, and I'm with Eric Reed. I am. What Jay-Z did was this was about him. Remember when he turned down the NFL? He turned them down because It was easy to turn them down, Chris. They don't pay you for the halftime show. So when they weren't paying, it was very easy. There was no honor there. What honor? There is no payday to do the Super Bowl. And then when they come along with a nice check and say, hey, and let's do a photo op with you and the commissioner and all this other stuff. Chris, he could be doing the same work without money.
No, he couldn't.
No, I'm talking about if he wants to partner and they pay money towards social justice, and he takes a non-paying job to help out with the music or gratis.
Why does it have to be non-paying?
Because the entertainers don't get paid.
But with the work he's doing, why does it have to be non-paying? Why does him getting paid make it selling out?
Because that's usually how you buy somebody, is you take a situation.
It's also usually how you get things done is you need money behind you.
We can agree to disagree, and I understand
why. Name a movement that didn't have money behind it that got anything done.
I agree why there's plenty of them, Chris.
Name it.
When they started civil rights, there was no money.
They were
in
funded. The civil rights movement was funded. By whites.
When they started
the Black Panther Party was funded by Hollywood whites.
But when they started it, there was no money in time. Yes, they do build up and money is added to the pot for people who believe in the same cause. But taking money from, quote unquote, the same people who just did the unthinkable. What they did to Colin Kaepernick is the unthinkable in sports, no matter what people. And for Jay-Z to tell people that they shouldn't kneel anymore and it's done, all right, can we stop with the cancer research? What's the end game? I don't know. We've been doing it for 25 years and we haven't gotten the results we want. Should we stop? Should we stop donating money? Should we stop doing stuff? I'm just asking.
Are you saying, Rob, that African American people should not work with the NFL as long as Colin Kaepernick doesn't have a job?
I'm telling you that you cannot trust them for what they did to Colin Kaepernick, and that because of what they did, it's hard to look at them honestly in a league full of felons that allow guys to beat women and children and drug use and vehicular homicide and all those guys. Josh from the Patriots.
Josh Gordon
just got back in the league, right? They got room for everybody except for Colin Kaepernick.
I'm with you on that, but answer my question. Should African Americans not work with the NFL until Colin Kaepernick's on the team?
They should.
Would you rather it be a white person with no connection to the black community running the entertainment situation?
I don't care about the entertainment.
Would you rather they didn't have any social? Would you rather they not? Would you rather they not give the $90 million they gave to the Players Coalition?
Not if it doesn't mean anything, and they're not going to try.
Hold on. Chris, let me tell you what the Players Coalition has done.
Let me say something.
Because the Players Coalition has been doing, other than, they haven't been kneeling, but they have been in courtrooms fighting for legislation for black people. They got a law passed in Florida so some felons could start voting again.
Chris,
they have given $2 million apiece to 6 nonprofits that are fighting against social and racial injustice.
Chris,
that would not have happened without that $89 million.
Let me tell you, with no money, okay, how the NFL can change social situations in this country. With no money, and you don't need any because they're that strong. They went to the state of Arizona, Chris, and they said to the people of Arizona, and they hurt them in the pocketbook, you'll never get another Super Bowl as long as this league is alive. You'll never get another Super Bowl if you don't have the Martin Luther King holiday. Chris, no money, no commercials, nothing. Do you know how quickly it was turned around and they voted for it? The NFL has so much power. That's what I'm talking about.
No,
I
agree with you.
They can move mountains.
I agree with you, and that's why it's good to have somebody with some social consciousness.
They didn't need Jay-Z for that.
Let me finish.
They didn't need Jay-Z.
Who's African American?
They didn't need him.
Who's at the table? Here's another example of the power of these wealthy white billionaires. Jay-Z was fighting for 5 months to get Meek Mill out of jail, to no avail. Robert Kraft, the Patriots owner, gets involved, and 2 weeks later, Meek Mill is out of jail. Now you got a person that can sit there with the owners on an equal level and at least tell them, whether they do it or not, tell them this needs to be done. And his track record says he knows some of the stuff that needs to happen.
Chris,
and I'm asking you, I still want an answer.
I think you're being naive. I still want an
answer to my question.
Isn't Meek Mill's wasn't he a partner with Jay-Z and a personal friend?
Yeah, he's signed now. I don't know if he was signed before.
But that's, he had an interest in him. I mean, he knew this guy personally. My only point is,
so that means it wasn't sincere. I don't get what that means.
I'm just saying it's easy to do that when you have a personal interest in somebody.
Rob, are you saying that African Americans should not partner with or work with the NFL until Colin Kaepernick has a job?
Not until they treat all of the players the same way. None. I wouldn't take 2 cents from the NFL.
Then
I would not do it.
Because let's keep it real. And you and I have talked about this before. Colin Kaepernick could be in the league tomorrow if the African-American players said, we are all kneeling until Kaepernick is back on the team.
There's no doubt about it. They have power.
We are not playing another snap until Colin Kaepernick is back on the team.
But you don't have.
So why
is
the focus only on Jay-Z?
No, but this is the problem.
Why don't you focus on all of us, including you and me, who continue to talk about the NFL? All the fans who continue to watch the NFL and play fantasy football and wear football jerseys.
We do understand.
We're all selling out if that's the case.
No, I'm not. I'm not taking a check from the NFL. The NFL does not pay me.
Why don't you boycott the NFL? The NFL. Because it would affect your check.
No, but that ain't it. That's not what I'm here for.
You can't boycott the NFL and be on Fox Sports Radio.
I'm a sports writer. That's not what my job is. That's not what I do. So you can't pay me in that way. Jay-Z has nothing to do with the NFL players. He's not the one who's nailed down. He can't tell people it's over. Oh, get back up. It's all done. That's what he's trying to tell people.
I agree that you can still
you're a
say,
rapper from the street. You're going to tell everybody it's over because you signed a deal with the NFL? It's selfish. It's self-centered.
Rob,
it's
you know
about
why
Jay-Z.
he said it's over? You know why he said it's over?
Because he signed a deal with them.
No,
that's what they needed him to say.
Kneeling.
That's what. So what?
It's
one
three
guy
players.
can kneel.
Out
one
of a
guy
league
can
of
kneel.
2,000,
one guy
three
can kneel,
players.
and I still will respect it. One guy.
I started off my segment by saying he should respect it, and he shouldn't talk against it. But
don't tell me about it's over. Why did he say that before he signed the deal with the NFL? He could have told me that 2 months ago. Why didn't he say that? Why didn't he say that? Answer me that.
Since you don't want to let nobody else talk.
Why didn't he say it 2 months ago before he had a deal that you don't need to kneel on anymore? It's all over. As soon as he gets a check, it's
wasn't
over.
Asked.
Because he got a check. Now it's over.
Does he need a check?
Now,
he got
everybody
plenty
needs
of money.
money.
He doesn't need
everybody
a check.
needs money. Everybody.
Really?
Yep.
Jay-Z doesn't need money. If he needs money, he got problems.
Everybody needs money.
If you got $700 billion or $1 million and you need money,
everybody takes money.
You got problems. All right, 877-99 on Fox, 877-996-6369. Where do you stand? Is Jay-Z selling out, or do you understand what he's doing?
All right, guys, let's get it started here with Blake in New Mexico.
What's up? Hey, what's up, guys?
Blake?
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
yes,
we got you.
I listen to the podcast every day. It's my second time calling, I believe. But, man, just want to chime in. I really just want to specifically talk about this, but I think the deal was made with Rock Nation, correct, and not Jay-Z. Rock Nation employs a lot of people of color. So what's the big deal about that? And secondly, the movement wasn't just about Kaepernick. It was about, unarmed people getting shot. So why is he making it about him? I feel like he's, being exposed as a attention-seeking fraud, honestly.
I totally disagree, and it's about Kaepernick because we've never seen the NFL. They just talked a 40-year-old quarterback to come to the Eagles. They have gone and put everybody in the league except for Kaepernick, and basically the league has decided that they're going to punish. How dare you speak out about something that was going on in this country, and they're going to punish it for him. That's what he did.
I agree. Look, he's definitely been blackballed, and I support Colin Kaepernick. And I felt like what he did was very courageous. And one of the reasons I felt that way was because he was a backup at the time.
Right.
And he was expendable.
Right.
But my thing is, he's smart, and I'm sure he had to count up the cost of what he did. And when you do that type of thing, you have to say, okay, this could cost me my career. I'm a backup. I'm not, LeBron James. I'm not Cam Newton. I'm not somebody they can't replace. And you have to understand that could be a casualty of you standing up. I'm not saying it's right.
When you have a calling, sometimes in life, Chris, and you notice people have callings, and people have given up high-paying jobs to go help the poor, right? Have just said, this is my calling. I was a corporate lawyer making $200,000 a year, and now I'm at the soup kitchen in downtown Detroit, feeding people. Why? Well, because it's my calling. This is what I believe I'm here for. That's why people do that.
Well, here's the good thing about Cap. The good thing about his situation is, look, Nike's paying him millions, and he got a settlement with the league. So financially, he will be fine. I would like to hear more from him. And my opinion, Rob, is this. I don't think Cap set out to start a movement.
Nope, he just did what he was doing.
I think that he was just like, look, me as an individual, I can't stand for the anthem right now. And so he sat and then knelt. And it became something bigger than him. And so, but I agree, though, that he wanted, it brought the purpose, hopefully. I think his purpose was just individual. But we did want to draw attention to the social injustice. And like I said, in my view, now you got guys in power positions that have the opportunity, at least, to put some money into this social justice thing.
All right, Sergio. I got it. Sergio in Seattle. You're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Sergio?
Hey, guys, first-time caller, long-time listener. Love the show.
Appreciate it. Thank you, buddy.
No, hey, man. Honestly, as a minority, I stand with Kaepernick all the way, but I don't understand all the hate that Jay-Z's catching with this deal he signed. You know, at the end of the day, you have to be on that table to be able to make power moves and have an opinion at the end of the day. And I feel like with him being there, it's going to help with some of that injustice going on with Kaepernick. He might not ever be able to play, but he can be probably sure that this hopefully doesn't happen to another player standing for rights like he has been. But, I mean, other than that, let's talk about that power move the NFL did by signing with Rock Nation. They're getting a lot of attention, pulled away from them and deflecting off to, them now, or Rock Nation as a whole. Right, or
well,
Jay-Z, all the hate they're catching.
You make a good point that we haven't been talking about social justice the last several days. We've been fighting about who's a sellout and who isn't. And
no, but that was the NFL's
we shouldn't
plan.
be doing that. Everybody that works, Jay-Z and Eric Reed and Kaepernick and Malcolm Jenkins, they want the same thing. There are different ways to go about getting it.
Right, there is
Eric
no one
Reed's
way.
Just calling everybody that's not doing what he's doing a sellout.
But that's just, I hear you, but the same thing, Jay-Z telling people when they're supposed to stop doing what they want to do.
No, I agree with
it's
you on that.
It's not Jay-Z's fight. I mean, he can't do that. That was out of line, and that's why people looked at it and said, oh, that's interesting. Now that you got a fat check in your pocket from the NFL, now it's time to stop. That's why it rubbed people the wrong way. Hey, Chris, let's squeeze one more in. Is that Nate? Nat in Virginia Beach. You're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio.
Hey, fellas, how y'all doing?
What's
doing
happening,
good,
man?
Hey, man, look, this is the deal. I don't want to call Jay-Z a sellout because I know he's had his own way of living and growing up and seeing a lot. That's not my issue. My issue is, and I think if we step back and look at the whole thing is, the NFL in itself has an issue with even applying the Rooney Rule to get minority coaches in positions of high authority. And you mean to tell me that all the owners can get in the room in less than 2 weeks and hire an African-American man for a position, let me take that back, 2 positions that aren't clearly defined to do something, and somehow or another, entertainment for the Super Bowl has something to do with social consciousness, and you're going to give this guy 2 jobs? I couldn't apply for a job as a custodian, and then they also say, by the way, man, we're going to make you an executive assistant also. It just doesn't look right, it doesn't sound right, and it doesn't feel right. Let's be honest about that.
I agree with you. It doesn't feel right. That was my initial response. It just doesn't feel right to me.
Yeah, I just don't understand. I'm just, and I asked you this question, Rob. Like, are we saying an African American shouldn't be able to work with the NFL until Kaepernick has a job? That we're not in position to do that.
Chris, I will tell you this.
Simply put,
I will tell you this. If I were a player, and I'm not, this is hypothetical. I could say it because I'm not.
Right.
But I would be down on a knee with Kaepernick in support of him. I would be, because
no, that's fine.
What he's saying and what he was trying to draw attention to me was important at that time. And Skip and Shannon, they've done it and talked about it and were really good at it. Basically, unarmed black men being shot by white police officers.
I don't think anybody disagrees that's
worth
at least
fighting
African
for.
Americans.
That's bigger than a football game for me.
But there's ways to fight it. You got to get legislation passed. You got to talk to people in power. You can't just, kneeling is a part of it, but there's more than that too.